Good morning. I'm Cecil Haycock, pastor Walker's Chapel Church of the Brethren at Mount Jackson, Virginia. And today I'd like to lift up some of the wisdom of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem, and that was Solomon. He was asked God of the one great thing, and when he became king. And God said, because you haven't asked for riches and a number of other things, I'll give you wisdom. And so he is noted as a man of wisdom, and people came from many places to hear his wisdom. So I wanted to share a few things about it, what he had to say. And he starts out, he says, "Vanity of vanities, all," says the preacher. "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit has a man from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? One generation passes away and another generation comes, but the earth abides forever. The sun also rises, and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it arose. The wind goes toward the south and turns around to the north. The wind whirls around continually and comes again on its circuit, and the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the rivers come, then they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot express it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. And that which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there's nothing new under the sun." Have you ever thought about that? That's what they used to tell me. Well, all these things have already been, and that's the way it's life, and everything is just a cycle. It just goes round and round. And he said, and there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything which may be said, see, this is new, and it has already been in ancient times before us? There's no remembrance of former things, nor there will be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who come after. The preacher was king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I set my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all that is done under heaven. This burdensome task God has given to the sons of men, by which they may be exercised. And I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed all is vanity and grasping for the wind. And what is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be numbered. I communed with my heart, saying, look, I have attained greatness and gained more wisdom than all who before me in Jerusalem. My heart has understood great wisdom and knowledge, and I set my heart to know wisdom and know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is grasping for the wind. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. And it makes me think of what some people say, I'm dumb but happy. The more you know, well, sometimes you may be more miserable. So this is the thing he recognized was the case. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. And I said in my heart, come now, I'll test you with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. But surely this also was vanity. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth. What does I accomplish? I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine, and guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their life. I made my works great, I built myself houses, and planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools, from which water the growing trees of the grove. And I acquired male and female servants, and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. And I also gathered for myself silver and gold, and special treasures of kings and of the provinces. I acquired male and female singers, delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. So I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Man, doesn't it sound like he had everything? Well, whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor. And this was my reward from all my labor. And then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and all the labor in which I had toiled, and indeed all was vanity and grasping in the wind. There was no profit under the sun. And then I turned myself to consider wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do who succeeds like a king? Only what he had already done. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly, as light excels darkness. The wise man's eyes are his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Yet I myself perceived that the same event happens to them all. So I said in my heart, as it happens to the fool, it also happens to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, this also is vanity. For there is no more remembrance of the wise than of the fool forever, since all that now is will be forgotten in the days to come. And how does a wise man die? As a fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that was done under the sun was distressing me, for all is vanity and grasping for the wind. Then I hated all my labor in which I had toiled under the sun, because I must leave it to the man who will come after me. Who knows whether he'll be wise or a fool? Yet he'll rule over my labor, in which I toiled, in which I have shown myself wise. This also is vanity. Therefore I turned my heart and despaired of all the labor in which I had toiled under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, yet he must leave his inheritance to those who have not labored. This is also vanity and a great evil. For what has man for all his labor, and all the striving of his heart with which he is toiled under the sun? For his days are sorrowful, and his work burdensome. Even in the night the heart takes no rest. This also is vanity. Nothing is better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that his soul should enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw was from the hand of God. For who can eat or who can have enjoyment more than I? For God gives wisdom and knowledge and joy to a man who is good in his sight. But to the sinner he gives the work of gathering and collecting, that he may give to him who is good before God. There is also his vanity and grasping in the wind. But then he goes on to say something about the future. He says that to everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a hand to break down and a time to build up, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, and a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to embrace from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And what profit has the worker from that in which he labors? I have seen the God-given tasks with which the sons of men are to be occupied. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from the beginning to the end. I know that nothing is better for them than to rejoice and do good in their lives, and also that every man enjoy the good of all his labors. It's a gift of God. And I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it that men should fear before him that which he has already been. And what is he has already been, and God requires an account of what is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun, in the place of judgment, wickedness was there, and in the place of righteousness, iniquity was there. And I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in my heart concerning my condition of the sons of men, God tests them, that they may see that they themselves are like animals. Do you ever think about yourself that way? I guess I have. For what happens to the sons of men also happens to animals, and one thing befalls them, as one dies, so also does the other. And all go to one place, all are from the dust, and all return to the dust. And who knows the spirit of the sons of men, which goes upward, and the spirit of the animal, which goes down to the earth? So I perceive that nothing is better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his heritage. For who can bring to him to see what will happen after this? And I think then when we get on to the close of the what he has to say, he has some things that we need to remember. And he says, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find that after many days. Give a serving to 7, and also to 8, for you do not know what evil will be on the earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth, and the tree falls to the south or the north. In the place where the tree falls, there it shall lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. As you do not know what is the way of the wind, or how bones grow in a womb, who is with child, so you do not know the works of God, who makes everything. In the morning sow your seed, in the evening do not withhold your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, either this or that, or whether both alike will be good. And truly the light is sweet, and it is pleasant to the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man lives many years and rejoices in them all, Yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they will be many, and all that is coming is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these, God will bring you into judgment. That's serious. You may do all sorts of things and think you're enjoying them, but God is going to bring you into judgment. Therefore, remove sorrow from your heart and put away evil from your flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. And then he goes on to say something about what's going to happen when we reach, shall we say, way up in the years. Says, remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come, and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun and the light, the moon and the stars are not darkened, and the clouds do not return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men bow down, when the grinders cease, because they are few. Now I know my teeth are getting kind of feast too. I have a number of artificial ones, and if you're of an age, you probably have lost some of yours too. And then it goes to say, and those who look in the windows grow dim. Well, what's the problem? Well, you have eye problems. And I know what that is. I have it. I've had uh, my eyes worked on, and I still have to take care of them very carefully. And then he said, and when the doors are shut in the streets, and the sound of grinding is low. Yeah, I got problems, ear problems too. One of them is not working right, so I'm depending on one. And all the daughters of music are brought low, and they are afraid of height and of terrors in the way. When the almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper is a burden, and desire fails, for man goes to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets. So then he goes to say that we need to consider, remember your Creator before the silver cord is leased, or the golden board is broken, or the pitcher shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the well, and then dust will return to earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher, all is vanity. And then he goes and comes to the end. He says, let us consider the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. You can't go someplace and hide to try to keep things from God knowing about it. And I think of the little boy, I said, if I get out there into the wood house and do something bad, is God going to know about it? You see, this is a thing in our ages. We may think we can hide things from God and not from others. As a matter of fact, I want to say when you're growing up, it's amazing how mothers and fathers can see what's going on and you don't recognize it. So be careful of what you do. Learn, for God keeps his commandments. For this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether good or evil. God knows. God will record what you've done and what you deserve. The Lord bless you, guide you, and keep you safe. Amen.